Do you know what's truly dangerous? It's not failure, it's not rejection, it's doing nothing. Yes, nothing. Waking up every day, repeating the same excuses, the same mediocre habits, telling yourself, I'll start when I'm ready, I'll change when life gives me a sign. But here's the truth. That sign isn't coming. There is no perfect moment. There is only now. And every day you wait, you drift further from the person you're meant to become. I get it. You're tired, you've tried before. You tell yourself, it's not the right time, or I don't know where to start. But deep down, you're not lacking time or knowledge. You're lacking pressure. You need something that forces you to grow, whether you feel like it or not. That's where Stoicism comes in. This isn't about quoting ancient philosophers to sound wise. This is about action. It's about using timeless principles to push yourself forward every single day. In this video, I'll share 10 hard-hitting Stoic lessons that will help you stop waiting, silence the excuses, and finally take control of your progress. If you're tired of standing still, if you're ready to force your own evolution, then let's begin. Lesson 1. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Let me ask you something honest. How many times have you told yourself, I'll start on Monday. When things settle down, I'll focus on myself. I just need the right mindset, the right mood, the right time. We've all been there. But here's the truth that might sting a little. There is no perfect moment. There's no magical day when the stars will align, distractions will disappear, and motivation will suddenly knock on your door with a plan. That moment doesn't exist. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, You could be good today. Instead, you choose tomorrow. And isn't that what we all do? We choose tomorrow. Not because we're lazy, but because we've been tricked into believing that action requires perfect conditions. But what if I told you, the only thing standing between the life you have and the life you want is your willingness to act before you feel ready? Let me give you a quick example. Imagine someone who wants to start working out. They spend days searching for the right gym, reading reviews, shopping for the perfect workout shoes, watching YouTube routines, but weeks pass. And they still haven't done a single push-up. Why? Because they're waiting to feel ready, instead of just starting where they are. And the truth is, clarity comes from action, not from overthinking. If you want to improve, you have to break the mental trap of someday. You have to force yourself to act when it's messy, inconvenient, awkward, because that's exactly when growth begins. The Stoics weren't about comfort. They believed that life rewards those who move forward despite discomfort, not because of motivation. So here's a practical takeaway you can use today. Think of one small action you've been putting off. Maybe it's sending that email, applying for that job, calling that person, or journaling for 5 minutes. Whatever it is, do it now. Don't overthink it. Don't wait for inspiration. Just do it. And when the voice in your head says, but I'm not ready, you answer, that's exactly why I'm starting. Because the person who waits loses time. But the person who moves even slowly builds momentum. Here's what I want you to remember from this first lesson. The perfect time is a lie. The only real time is now. Every day you delay is a day you could have learned, improved, or grown just a little more. You don't need to take a massive leap. You just need to take a single step again and again. Progress doesn't come from perfection. It comes from consistency, so stop waiting, start becoming. Lesson 2, learn from adversity. Don't fight the storm, use it. Let me tell you a short story. There was once a young fisherman named Lucas. He knew the sea like the back of his hand, every wave, every current. But one day while sailing alone, a violent storm came out of nowhere. Waves crashed against his tiny boat, the wind howled and panic kicked in. He tried to fight it, he tried to control what he couldn't. Until suddenly he remembered his grandfather's words, "The sea doesn't reward resistance, it rewards understanding." So instead of forcing his way back to shore, Lucas stopped fighting the waves. He studied the currents and he used them to guide his boat, not back, but to a hidden cove he had once seen. he survived. And not just that, he came back wiser. That's what Stoicism teaches us in this second lesson. Adversity is not your enemy, it's your teacher. We all face storms. Maybe for you, it's a toxic work environment, a health setback, a relationship falling apart, or maybe it's just that silent inner voice that says, you're not enough. When these storms hit, our first instinct is to resist, to panic, to ask, why me? But the Stoics flipped that question. They asked, what can I learn from this? You see, pain isn't pleasant, but it's incredibly honest. It reveals your fears, your weak spots, your expectations. And if you lean in, if you stop trying to escape, and instead try to understand, you'll walk out of the storm with more than just survival. You'll walk out with wisdom. Let's make this practical. Next time life throws something difficult at you, pause. Ask yourself 3 questions. 1. What is within my control right now? 2. What is this situation trying to teach me? 3. How can I come out of this stronger, not bitter? For example, let's say you lose your job. You can spend days blaming your boss, the company, the economy, or you can do the Stoic thing. Reflect. What skills do I need to sharpen? Who can I reach out to? What does this setback reveal about what I truly want in my career? That shift in mindset, from victim to student, is everything. As Epictetus said, difficulties show men what they are, and it is in suffering that character is formed. So the next time a storm comes, whether it's external chaos or internal doubt, don't just try to survive it. Use it, study it, grow from it, because improvement doesn't come from smooth seas. It comes from learning how to navigate rough waters, just like Lucas. And remember, the storm isn't there to destroy you. It's there to reveal you. So don't fight the adversity. Make it your ally. Lesson 3. Kill your excuses before they kill your progress. Let's be honest for a second. You say you want to improve. You say you want to build discipline, chase your goals, and become better every single day. But then the excuses show up. I'm tired. I don't have time. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm just not good at this kind of thing. Sound familiar? We've all said them. But here's the raw truth. Excuses are nothing but well-polished lies we tell ourselves to feel better about staying the same. And Stoicism, it doesn't tolerate them. Because the Stoics understood that we don't control our circumstances, but we absolutely control how we respond to them. Epictetus once said, it's not things that disturb us, but our judgments about them. And guess what? Excuses are judgments. They're not facts. They're interpretations. Let me give you a real-life example. Let's say you want to start waking up earlier. You set your alarm for 6 a.m. The next morning it rings, and your brain immediately jumps in with, you didn't sleep well, you've got a busy day. Hit snooze just this once. But if you listen to that voice today, you'll listen to it again tomorrow and the day after, until one day you look back and realize you weren't too tired. You were too used to giving in. So how do we fight back? Here's a Stoic strategy you can try today. Write down your excuses. All of them. Yes, it sounds weird, but trust me, when you put them on paper, something magical happens. They start to look weaker, smaller. And then right next to each excuse, write down the truth. For example, excuse, I don't have time to work out. Truth, I spent 45 minutes scrolling on my phone last night. Excuse, and I'm motivated. Truth, motivation is fleeting. Discipline is a habit. This kind of honesty stings, but it sets you free. Because once you stop hiding behind excuses, you start building something powerful. Personal responsibility. Let's put it this way, your excuses don't care about your future, but your actions do. And every time you choose action over excuse, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. So, the next time you hear that voice in your head whisper, just skip today. Respond with, no, today matters. Even if it's not perfect, even if it's messy. The Stoics weren't perfect people. They just refused to lie to themselves, and that's what made them strong. So here's the takeaway for lesson 3. Don't wait for your excuses to disappear. Confront them, challenge them, replace them. And remember, improvement starts when excuses end. Because discipline is not built in comfort, it's built in the moments when you do what needs to be done, even when every part of you wants to quit. Lesson 4. Small wins build big momentum. Let me ask you something. When you think about changing your life, do you picture a huge transformation? Like quitting your job, moving to a new country, starting a business overnight? That's what most people imagine, and that's exactly why they never start. The Stoics saw things differently. They believed true progress doesn't come from giant leaps. It comes from small, consistent actions. As Seneca once said, well-being is realized by small steps, but it is truly no small thing. That's your fourth Stoic lesson. Small wins repeated daily build unstoppable momentum. Let me give you an example. Say you want to become a better writer. You don't need to write a novel today. Just one paragraph, one page. Every day. You want to get fit? Forget 2-hour gym sessions if that's too much right now. Start with 15 minutes of walking or 10 push-ups. The action is small, but the identity you're building is massive. Here's the secret. Small wins train your brain to trust yourself. They tell your mind, hey, I follow through, I show up, and showing up consistently beats intensity every time. Let me tell you a personal story. A friend of mine, Sarah, used to struggle with anxiety. She wanted to meditate, but every time she sat down, her mind raced, so she gave up again and again, until one day, she decided to stop trying to meditate for 20 minutes. Instead, she set a timer for 1 minute. Just 60 seconds of silence. She did it. Then the next day, she did it again. Eventually, 1 minute became 2, then 5. Now she meditates for 15 minutes every morning, and it's changed her life. Not because she forced herself to go big, but because she committed to showing up small. That's the Stoic path. No drama, no grand gestures, just daily discipline. You don't have to win the whole war today. You just have to win the battle right in front of you. Here's a question for you. What's one small win you can commit to today? Write 1 page, drink a full glass of water in the morning, turn your phone off 30 minutes before bed. Anything that aligns with the person you want to become. The goal isn't perfection. It's progress you can sustain. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal, when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. So treat each day like a chance to do something meaningful, no matter how small. Because here's the thing, big changes come from small habits, multiplied by time. And the best part, small wins feel good. They reinforce your identity, they stack confidence, they build momentum. So don't underestimate the power of small. That tiny win you create today, it might be the reason you don't quit tomorrow. Lesson 5. Get out of your comfort zone. One step at a time. Let's talk about something we all secretly love. Comfort. Comfort feels good, it's safe, predictable. It tells you, you don't have to try today, you've done enough. And you know what? Sometimes that's true. But if comfort becomes your default setting, you stop growing, slowly, silently. That brings us to Stoic Lesson 5. Growth begins the moment you leave your comfort zone. The Stoics were never interested in staying cozy. They believed in voluntary discomfort, training themselves to embrace difficulty, not avoid it. Why? Because they knew that nothing strong is built in ease. Let me give you a modern example. There's a guy named James. He's been working the same job for 6 years. Every day feels the same. He's good at it. Sure, but he's unfulfilled. He has dreams of starting his own business, but guess what? Every time he thinks about it, fear shows up. What if I fail? What if I lose everything? So he stays, because staying is easier than starting. Sound familiar? Here's the hard truth. Your comfort zone is a prison with invisible bars. It looks soft, but it's suffocating your potential. And the only way out is to move. Even a little. Now, I'm not saying you need to quit your job tomorrow or throw yourself into chaos. Stoicism isn't about recklessness, it's about intentional challenge. So here's a Stoic challenge you can try today. Do one thing that makes you slightly uncomfortable. Just one. Call someone you've been avoiding. Say no to a commitment that drains you. Wake up 30 minutes earlier. Speak up in a meeting. Try a workout you've always been too nervous to attempt. It doesn't have to be dramatic, it just has to stretch you. Because here's what happens when you stretch. You don't just build skill, you build courage. And courage is the gateway to everything meaningful. The Stoics believed that fear is a signal, not to run, but to lean in. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining." That sounds harsh, right? But there's power in that. He wasn't saying to suffer for no reason. He was saying, if you can handle it, prove it to yourself. Let discomfort become your training ground. Because the truth is, every great thing in your life will begin with some kind of discomfort. The first day at a new job, the awkward first workout, the difficult but honest conversation, the moment you finally take a chance on yourself. So here's your takeaway for lesson 5. Discomfort isn't danger, it's growth in disguise. Don't wait until you feel brave. Bravery doesn't come before the action. It comes after. So today, step outside the warm bubble. Feel the wind, feel the fear, and walk anyway. Because the further you step from comfort, the closer you get to who you're meant to be. Lesson 6. Embrace failure. Learn to fall forward. Let's face it, failure sucks. It's embarrassing, it stings, and worst of all, it whispers things like, "You're not good enough. You should have known better. Why did you even try?" But here's the Stoic truth. Failure is not your enemy. Avoiding failure is. The Stoics didn't fear falling short. In fact, they welcomed it, because they knew that every failure was a mirror. It shows you who you are. It reveals where you need to grow. And most importantly, it gives you the chance to start again, better. Let me tell you about Matt. Matt wanted to start a podcast. He bought the mic, researched his niche, even recorded his first few episodes. Then, he launched. And hardly anyone listened. His views were low, feedback was quiet, and doubt hit hard. He almost deleted everything and gave up. But then he paused and asked, "What is this failure teaching me?" He realized he had rushed the launch, didn't promote enough, and lacked clarity in his message. So he went back, refined his brand, and slowly rebuilt. A year later, he's passed 50,000 downloads, all because he chose to learn instead of quit. That's the Stoic mindset. Epictetus once said, "Difficulties are things that show a person who they are." In other words, failure is not proof you're broken. It's proof that you're trying. So why do we fear it so much? Because we attach our self-worth to results. We think if we fail, we are a failure. But that's just ego talking. Stoicism separates outcome from identity. You can fail at something and still be a person of discipline, of courage, of worth. Now here's the part that matters. What do you do after you fail? Do you disappear? Do you hide and protect your pride? Or do you ask, what went wrong? What can I learn? What can I try differently next time? The Stoics believe pain is information, not something to avoid, but something to study. So here's a simple practice. When you fail at something, write down: 1. What did I expect? 2. What actually happened? 3. What will I change next time? This isn't about beating yourself up. It's about taking control of the lesson, because failure is inevitable. But growth is optional. The people you admire most, the authors, the athletes, the creators, the leaders, every one of them has a long list of failures behind their success. What makes them different? They didn't stop. So here's your takeaway for lesson 6. Don't fear falling. Fear staying down. Let every failure sharpen your focus, not shatter your spirit. Let it humble you, not humiliate you. Because if you're failing, it means you're in the arena. And the Stoics would rather you fall forward than stay safe on the sidelines. So next time you fall, stand up, dust off, and say, "Okay, now I know better. Let's go again." Lesson 7. Fight procrastination with micro-actions. Let me guess, you've got a to-do list, you've got dreams, you've got plans, goals, routines, somewhere in your mind or written down. But somehow the day ends and you still haven't started. You tell yourself, tomorrow I'll get serious, but tomorrow turns into next week and next week into next month. Sound familiar? You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're just caught in a loop that Stoics knew all too well. Procrastination. That's what this lesson is all about. Lesson 7. Stop overthinking. Start with micro actions. The Stoics didn't wait for perfect energy or perfect conditions. They believed in right action, doing what needs to be done now, no matter how small. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being." He didn't say, wait until you feel like it. He said, do your duty. And here's the secret weapon. Action kills anxiety. Let me give you a quick story. There's a guy named Eric. He wanted to start reading more, but every night he'd scroll through his phone until he passed out. He told himself, I'll read when I have more time. Of course, that day never came. Then he tried something different. Instead of setting a goal to read one book a week, he just committed to reading one page a night. Just one. Some nights he stopped at 1. Other nights he read 10, even 20. But what mattered was this: he built momentum. You see, when you lower the barrier to start, you make it harder to stall. We often think we need motivation to act, but actually, action creates motivation, not the other way around. So here's your practical challenge. Pick one task you've been avoiding. Break it down into the tiniest possible step, then do it. Not the whole thing, just the first step. Want to clean your room? Start by making your bed. Want to write a blog? Open a blank doc and write one sentence. Want to exercise? Do 5 jumping jacks right now. Yes, right now. These micro actions aren't meant to change your life instantly. They're meant to change your relationship with resistance. Because every time you take action, no matter how small, you teach your brain, I move forward, even when I don't feel like it. That's Stoicism in practice. So what's the takeaway for lesson 7? Don't try to finish the whole journey today. Just take the first step, then take it again tomorrow. You're not building perfection, you're building rhythm. You're showing up, and showing up consistently is how transformation happens. So stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting to feel ready. Start now, even if it's just for 2 minutes, even if it's messy, even if your mind screams, this isn't enough. Because that little action, it's not small, it's everything. Lesson 8. Silence the noise in your head. You know what's louder than failure, louder than fear, louder than any outside obstacle? The noise in your own head, that endless inner voice that questions everything. What if I'm not good enough? What if this doesn't work? Why even try? This isn't some distant enemy. It's you. Your own thoughts on repeat, sabotaging your actions before they even begin. And that brings us to Stoic lesson 8. Learn to manage your inner dialogue before it manages you. The Stoics taught one of the most powerful ideas of all. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. Let that sink in. You don't have to believe every thought that crosses your mind. You don't have to obey every self-doubt that shows up. You get to choose what stays and what passes. Let me give you a real-life example. There's a woman named Natalie who always wanted to speak in public. She had the ideas, the passion, the stories, but every time an opportunity came, her inner voice screamed, "You'll mess up, you'll embarrass yourself, they'll laugh." So she stayed quiet for years. Until one day she wrote down every thought she had before a presentation, all the noise, and next to each line she asked herself, is this true? Has this ever happened before? What's the worst that could really happen? That simple act gave her clarity. It didn't silence the voice completely, but it made it manageable. She gave her talk. It wasn't perfect, but it was real, and it changed her confidence forever. That's what we're after. Not silence, but control. You see, the brain will always throw doubts your way. That's just what it does. The Stoics knew this. They didn't try to erase the noise. They learned to act in spite of it. Marcus Aurelius journaled daily, not because he had it all together, but because he was managing his own mental battlefield. Here's a practical tip. Name your negative thoughts, literally. Call that voice Doubtful Dave or Anxious Anna. When the voice shows up, say, "Oh, there's Dave again. Thanks for the opinion, but I've got work to do." It sounds silly, but it creates distance. It reminds you, this thought is not me. I'm just noticing it. And once you separate from the noise, you can move, you can act, you can live. So here's the takeaway for Lesson 8. You don't need a silent mind. You need a stronger response. You don't need to fight every thought. You just need to question them. Then move forward anyway. Because the real power comes when you realize you're not the storm. You're the sailor steering through it. So next time your inner voice starts shouting doubt, don't try to shut it up. Just steer. Lesson 9. Stop comparing. Your only competition is you. Let's be real for a second. You open your phone, scroll for 5 minutes, and boom, someone's traveling the world. Someone just launched a business, someone else is getting engaged, running a marathon, or hitting 6 figures, and suddenly your life feels small. Welcome to the comparison trap, one of the most toxic habits in the modern world. And here's your Stoic lesson 9. Comparison is a distraction from your own path. The Stoics knew this long before Instagram. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Why? Because focusing on what others think is the fastest way to forget what you think. And comparing your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 20 will only leave you frustrated. Let me tell you a quick story. There's a guy named Daniel. He's a filmmaker. He spent months perfecting his first short film. He was proud, excited, inspired. Then he uploaded it online and made the mistake of watching a few other short films right after. One had better lighting, another had better acting, another had 2 million views. Suddenly he felt like trash. But here's the truth he eventually realized. Those filmmakers, they weren't better. They were just further. And his job wasn't to catch up. His job was to keep going. That's the shift. You're not in their race. You're in yours. Your goals, your pace, your growth. That's what matters. The Stoics were obsessed with self-measurement. They didn't compare themselves to others. They compared themselves to who they were yesterday. So here's a practical tip you can try today. At the end of the day, ask yourself one question. Am I better than I was yesterday? Not better than him, not as good as her. Just you versus you. Even a 1% improvement counts. Did you drink more water? Did you control your temper a little better? Did you take one small action toward your dream? Good. That's progress. Celebrate it, because if you spend your life looking sideways, you'll miss the beauty of what's straight ahead. And here's another mindset shift that helped me. Turn jealousy into information. When you envy someone, don't hate them. Ask yourself, what exactly do I admire? Is it their confidence, their creativity, their discipline? That envy is a mirror. It's showing you what you value. Use it. Not to feel worse, but to grow. So what's the takeaway for lesson 9? Your only true competition is the person in the mirror. That's who you need to beat. Not with hate, not with pressure, but with commitment. Stay on your path, track your own progress. And remember, the race isn't against the world, it's with yourself, and you're getting better one step at a time. Lesson 10. Surround yourself with people who push you forward. We've talked a lot about personal effort, discipline, mindset, habits, but here's the truth. You won't go far alone. That brings us to lesson 10. If you want to improve day after day, surround yourself with people who make that possible. The Stoics valued solitude for reflection, but they never promoted isolation. Marcus Aurelius had mentors. Seneca had friends. Epictetus taught students. Even the wisest minds needed community. Why? Because your environment shapes your behavior more than your willpower ever will. Let me give you a quick example. There's a woman named Jade. She wanted to stop drinking every weekend, get healthier, and start waking up early to work on her writing. She was motivated until Friday night rolled around. Her friends would message, "Drinks tonight? Just one. Don't be boring." And she'd cave again and again, not because she was weak, but because she was in the wrong room. Eventually, she made one brave decision. She joined a local writing group. They met every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. She didn't want to disappoint them, so she stopped drinking Friday nights. Her energy improved, her writing improved, her confidence improved. And it all started not with a major mindset shift, but with a change in who she surrounded herself with. That's the power of environment. If the people around you don't challenge you, stretch you, or believe in your better version, you'll eventually settle for the current one. So here's a practical question to ask yourself. Who do I spend the most time with, and are they pulling me forward or holding me back? This isn't about cutting everyone off or judging others. It's about being intentional. Choose to spend more time with people who take care of their health, people who speak about ideas, not just gossip, people who show up even when it's hard, people who inspire action, not just talk. And here's another tip. If you don't have those people yet, become one. Lead by example. When you grow, you attract others who are growing too. Because here's the hard truth. Your habits are contagious. So are theirs. Jim Rohn said it best, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. The Stoics might have said, you become what you practice. Practice with the right people. So here's your final takeaway for Lesson 10. If you want to grow, plant yourself in fertile soil. Surround yourself with those who remind you who you can become, not just who you've been, because you can build discipline. You can take small actions, you can silence the noise and kill your excuses. But without the right people around you, it's harder than it needs to be. So choose your circle with intention, protect your energy, and walk with those who are walking forward too. Because improvement is a journey, and it's one you don't have to walk alone. If you've made it this far, I want to say thank you. Thank you for investing your time, your energy, and your attention into something that matters, your growth. We've covered 10 Stoic lessons in this video, but remember, these aren't just ideas to think about, they're practices to live by. Let's quickly recap them. 1. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. 2. Learn from adversity. 3. Kill your excuses. 4. Build momentum with small wins. 5. Step out of your comfort zone. 6. Embrace failure and fall forward. 7. Beat procrastination with tiny actions. 8. Silence the noise in your head. 9. Stop comparing. Run your own race. 10. Surround yourself with people who elevate you. None of these lessons require talent. None of them require perfection. They just require one thing: consistency. You don't have to become a Stoic philosopher overnight. You just need to show up a little better than yesterday. So here's my invitation to you. Pick one lesson from this video and apply it today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Just today. One action, one step. And if this video helped you in any way, please consider giving it a like so more people can discover it. If you want to go deeper into Stoic ideas and self-mastery, subscribe and join this growing community of people who are serious about living better, not just talking about it. And I'd love to hear from you. What lesson hit you the hardest? Drop it in the comments below. I read every one of them. Again, thank you for watching, thank you for showing up for you, and no matter where you are in your journey, just keep going, because progress isn't about speed, it's about direction. Take care, stay grounded, and I'll see you in the next video.